What did they call Peter Parker and Mary Jane when they first got married? Newlyweds. Welcome to Lassoed Loot Volume 288. Today I have some back issues from Marvel and DC that I've recently added into my collection to share with you. I'm happy that you're here for it. Before we begin, I want to remind you about my back issue of the week, which is DC Comics oriented. It dropped yesterday morning. If you haven't had the chance to watch that short yet, I'd appreciate it if you give it a view. Let's get started with today's Lassoed Loot. A is for Amazing Spider-Man, which is where we begin Lassoed Loot Volume 288 for this week. This is Volume 1 of Amazing Spider-Man, issue 241, published in 1983. Our creative team at this time is Roger Stern, the writer, and cover and interior artist John Romita Jr., JR. You can tell it's a Vulture story, which continues from the previous issue. And at the end of the previous issue, Spider-Man has accidentally let Vulture get away. So the story begins with the aftermath of that, and to add insult to injury, the police have now arrived and are grilling Spider-Man and giving him a hard time. Like he doesn't have enough problems with the police as it is. I was particularly happy to get this issue because now I have a consecutive run of Amazing Spider-Man from 241 through 290. What you're going to see in my comic book collecting in the future is me really focusing on filling in the holes in my collection and the different titles that I've been working on since I was a childhood collector. Just last week in Lassoed Loot Volume 287, I showed you a consecutive run that I now have of X-Men comic books that I'm really proud of. And while this run of Amazing Spider-Man isn't nearly as impressive as last week's X-Men run is, it's still something I'm working on shipping away. If I can get the previous issue, 240, I'll have a consecutive run of 238 through 290. So ASM 240 will be a priority for me in the future. And in upcoming Lassoed Loot videos, you'll see me filling in run fillers, holes, in my collection that I've had from like Avengers and Fantastic Four. For sure you'll see those. I think another book that I'm really working on is Amazing Adventures Volume 2. This is from 1972 and it's issue 15. Jim Starlin does the cover for this. Steve Englehart is the writer and Tom Sutton is the interior artist. I love these stories with Hank McCoy as Beast. Do you consider Hank's fur to be black or blue? This is a key issue because it further mutates from gray to what the internet says is black fur with highlights that make it look blue. What do you think? Is it black fur or is it blue fur? Make sure to leave me a comment with your and weigh in on this subject. Angel is the first X-Men to find out about Beast's mutation as he appears in this issue to help Hank out. Patsy Walker is in this issue, and this throws back to these different Patsy Walker stories I had when she ended up becoming Hellcat in Bronze Age Avengers issues. And this issue was like referenced many different times. So to have an original of this finally in my collection was very fulfilling. Hank and Patsy make a deal in this issue that doesn't get revealed until Avengers 141. The Griffin is our villain in this issue. He next appears in Marvel Team Up issue 38. I was looking at my COZ and I'm like, I don't have that issue, but why do I remember reading that issue? And then I remembered because I have it in part of a Marvel Masterworks that was a Christmas gift to me that I showed in Comic Book Editions Volume 269. That came from my friend Brian. The next issue up is issue 16. This is my very first Pence variant, which I'm super stoked. I think everyone should have a Pence variant in their collection. This one came all the way from overseas. I didn't buy it specifically because it was a Pence variant. I bought it because it was a comic book that I really wanted to have. It was in great shape, and more importantly, it was in my price range. The fact that it's a Pence is just icing on the cake, a little chef's kiss. It's the same creative team from the previous issue with the exception of William Robert Brown as the interior artist. Marie Severin is credited in this issue as a caricaturist. So Hank and his girlfriend Vera are traveling and they're going through Rutland, Vermont. It's the Halloween Parade. If you know anything about this Rutland, Vermont Halloween Parade, this was like a gag that the comic book creators would do, both Marvel and DC, as kind of a unofficial crossover. Like Supergirl makes an appearance. Someone dressed up as Supergirl. is in this Halloween parade. So as Hank and Vera are traveling through Rutland, Vermont, Juggernaut appears at this Halloween parade, starts causing havoc and chaos, and Beast knows how difficult Juggernaut can be, so he goes into action. By the way, the DC equivalent of this issue for the year 1972 is Justice League of America 103. That's the one where they have the DC version of someone attending the Rutland, Vermont Halloween parade. So Hank and Vera continue their travels after this issue, appearing in Hulk issue 161. Then we have Amazing Adventures issue 17. I'm going to be honest with you, this is not my favorite. Credits go to Jim Starlin, cover and interior, Steve Englehart, still the writer. There's only 2 original pages to this, at the front and at the end, so it bookmarks. And then it reprints the second stories from X-Men Volume 1, issues 49, 50, 51, 52, and 53, which really gives us the Beast's origin, an extended origin, all the way back to his parents meeting and him being born, you know, all the way through the mutation into the fur. Arnold Drake wrote those original second stories of the X-Men with Werner Roth doing the interior art on those original ones. Just was not a favorite for me. I usually fly through the other issues when I'm reading them because I'm so invested. Not this one. When it comes to Amazing Adventures Volume 2, I just have a couple issues prior to the Beast run to fill into my collection. Maybe like 2. It's 2 or 3 that I need. These are when the Inhumans and Black Widow were headlining Amazing Adventures before it switched over to the Beast. So those will be future higher priorities for me to add into the collection. I have some yellow covers to share with you to wrap up the video, but first, orange, with DC Special, Volume 1, Issue 19. Published in 1976, Ernie Chan did this great collaborative cover. So at this time, this DC Special consists of a theme that they came up, War of the Giants. So it's all different stories where superheroes took on giants. And there are reprints inside. There's 4 different reprints. We have Superman in the story Eterno the Immortal, which was written by Jim Shooter, and it appeared in Action Comics 343 originally back in 1966. Then there's a Green Lantern story, Captive of the Evil Eye, from Green Lantern Volume 2, Issue 53 in 1967. There's a Strange Adventures story from Issue 28 in 1953 called The Indestructible Giant. And then, of course, my girl's in here, Wonder Woman, The Human Charm Bracelet. First appeared in Wonder Woman Volume 1, Issue 106, originally published in 1959. So they had done other books like this, like there was Super Villains Take on Super Gorillas. I think maybe a Magic one, maybe. But just general themes like this at this time for the DC Special, which was a title I truly did enjoy. Promised you yellow covers, and that's where we go to right now. Oh, I am so happy to add in a pre-100 Wonder Woman Volume 1, Issue 82 from 1956. So the cover is Frank Giacola, if I pronounced that correctly, with Robert Kanigher as the writer, and Wonder Woman's original artist, Harry G. Peter, doing the interior art. There's 3 different stories in here. The first one, where the cover comes from, involves Diana getting ready for bed, and by some type of a whim of fate, a message on an arrow is fired by Robin Hood, and it flies through the time stream and into the wall of Diana's bedroom. So she heads back in time to investigate and ends up meeting Robin Hood. Although, I mean, it clearly is Robin Hood. Many times as I've looked at this cover, I'm like, that looks so much like Green Arrow. Of course it's supposed to, because Green Arrow is supposed to be after Robin Hood. Pre-100 Wonder Womans are a huge focus and priority of my collection when I can find them in budget, which is the toughest part of putting them into my collection. So to add this in is extra special for me. Doom Patrol 121 from Volume 1 was published in 1968. Joe Orlando did this cover, which I think is amazing. Arnold Drake was the writer, longtime Doom Patrol writer. This is the last issue, or was it supposed to be? Because at the end, literally, there's a letter from the editor saying, hey, if enough of you don't start buying this particular book or write in saying that you want more Doom Patrol, it's bye-bye for the Doom Patrol. Of course, the Doom Patrol would remain dead for a long time, but eventually they would end up being brought back. I love this cover. I showed a few weeks ago, I did on my Lassoed Loot video, some hardcovers and trades that I added into my collection, and I got a DC Finest Volume 2, which uses the same cover image. I haven't read this particular issue yet, either in that trade or in this single individual issue. Even though I had it in that collection, I've still wanted this one for such a long time. So when I saw it, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to pull the trigger on this. There was no hesitation at all. Although probably in the future, I'll let those DC Finest collections serve as my purpose for reading and enjoying old Silver Age Doom Patrol comic books. One more to show you. It's the ultimate yellow cover, wouldn't you say? All-Star Comics number 3 from Volume 1. Now, originally this was a 1940 comic book. Obviously, it's a facsimile. The facsimile was done in 2023, and this is the blank cover. I have potential plans for this cover, obviously, which is why I bought it. So at this time, the JSA, in their very first appearance, would be Flash, Jay Garrick, Green Lantern, which is Alan Scott, Hawkman, Spectre, Hourman, Red Tornado, the original one, Sandman, Dr. Fate, Atom, and then Johnny Thunder and his Thunderbolts become honorary members. The little blurb or solicitation regarding this says, you know, it's November 22nd, 1940, and 8 superheroes gathered together at a secret location for the very first official meeting of the Justice Society of America, but Johnny Thunder decides to crash the party, and, with the unwitting aid of his magical Thunderbolt, wants to hear from the JSA on how or what their most memorable or spectacular cases were. I know I've read this at some time, decades ago as a childhood collector, but it'll be fun to go back and revisit this too. So what do you think of this Lassoed Loot haul for video 288? Which one was your favorite? Leave me a comment below. Your comments are welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll do so as well. DC Comics fans know that the greatest DC Comics show on YouTube is Fanboys Live and the Retro Review, coming up this Sunday, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Central, here on my YouTube channel. I hope that you can join me. Look forward to that. Give this video a thumbs up, a like, because the algorithm enjoys that. And I'll see you for Lassoed Loot Volume 289 next week. Until then, take care and have a great rest of your week. Thanks for watching. That Beast happens to be at. And of course, Beast knows who the Juggernaut is. There goes my backdrop.